Mayor's own, Mark.
How do you follow that up?
I was going to say, we have to lighten the moment a little bit, lighten it up a little bit. All right, well, that was great. Okay, take a minute to let it all sink in. We had a good candidate, and we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. And we may be going down this road again, who knows? All right, next up, I'd like to introduce Mark Hopp. Mark's from Burlington. He was a campaign volunteer for Dr. Brannon, and he's going to share with us a little bit about what's going on with the current and recent 10th Amendment bills in the surrounding areas, or surrounding states, as well as North Carolina. He also ran for, was it county commissioner?
County commissioner in 2012.
In 2012 in Alamance County, and we're proud to have you here, Mark. Come on up.
I thought I was going before Greg. I didn't realize I was following him. Not an easy task. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Followed Conservatives for Guilford County for several years. Always like your endorsements. Always agree with them. I'm like, yeah, they're pretty straight on. I'm a volunteer for the 10th Amendment Center. I've known Glenn for probably 4 years now, 5 years. I've known Greg for 4 or 5 years now, know him well. Great guy, obviously. I'm basically just going to read a little bit about the status of nullification around the nation and the surrounding states. I'm going to take a couple minutes here. How many here came to nullify now? I see a few familiar faces. Okay. Vonda, I know you did. John, Glenn. We had an event in Raleigh to sort of highlight nullification back, when was that? About 6 months ago, I guess. But that was really great. I have a couple copies of Mike Meharry's book. Mike Meharry is the communications director for the 10th Amendment Center. And I'll talk a little bit more about him, but the title of the book is Our Last Hope, Rediscovering Our Lost Path to Liberty. And it's on the 10th Amendment, of course. I want to start out with reading you a little excerpt from a recent Johns Hopkins University write-up on nullification. Now, Johns Hopkins is most noted, of course, for their medical stuff, but they have other things too. And I was surprised to find them writing about nullification, but that's how big it's gotten. And the title is Win, Lose, or Draw, the New Nullification. And I'm just going to read you the first paragraph. When he started working at the 10th Amendment Center 3.5 years ago, Communications Director Mike Meharry could recite every bill that dealt with the nullification of federal law across the United States, even if most were toothless, non-binding resolutions. In his second year, though, pushback against the Affordable Care Act and the National Defense Authorization Act crossed his desk, he could still keep track. By 2013, when virtually every state introduced some sort of nullification bill, his memory was spread a little thin. Quote, we got to the point where we couldn't keep up with all of them, and I'm certain that it's going to be like that again next year, he said. So basically, just 4 years ago, the communications director for the 10th Amendment Center could recite every single nullification bill in the country. And now, I mean, I'm sure it's well into the hundreds, I know, for a fact. It has absolutely exploded. I'm just going to give a few examples from the surrounding states, and this is a very partial list. I sort of grabbed them real quick. In Virginia, I believe it was a year or two ago, passed a bill that refused state compliance and assistance in any arrest and indefinite detention of an American citizen by the federal government, and that's embedded in the National Defense Authorization Act. And that's kind of what they'd like to do is they give you the National Defense Authorization Act, which we all support our national defense, right? But in that bill, they insert things that are not good. But anyways, if you remember, the term terrorist has been used by Janet Napolitano and Harry Reid as well to describe everyone in this room. So that's what this is basically saying is Virginia is saying we're not going to assist the federal government with our forces at all with this bill. In Tennessee, they passed a bill to legalize the growth of industrial hemp. This just happened in the last month, introduced by a Republican. You cannot get high off industrial hemp. It does look very similar to cousin to marijuana, but it's not the same. The original Constitution was actually written on hemp paper made from hemp. Its uses are endless, from food to textiles and construction, and even improving the environment. Currently, federal law has hemp as illegal, except for they just recently passed a bill, the federal government has,